Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, welcome back to the Investigative Journal on this Monday. It's already July 16th, 2018 day on our calendar. I'm Greg Anthony, back live on FirstAmendmentRadio.com. I've been away for a while, but feeling better. And let's get right to it. I doubt anyone can pass up the opportunity of following this theater called American politics. It's spread worldwide now, and this theater company now, in its, how many years have we been here? Over 200 years? And it's a performance that continues every 4 years with new characters, new actors, and this lead actor, Donald Trump, has providing quite a show, hasn't he? And let's remember this, that it's really all theater, and my only wish is that many Americans would catch on to it, because the idea that you're either a left-winger or a right-winger is absurd when you really understand how the political theater in the world operates. And it's really not hard to figure out. The other day I was watching, again, I've had a little bit of time to relax and catch up on the theatrical performances going on worldwide now in the name of freedom, a constitutional republic, and whatever you may say. I mean, it's just a ridiculous display of arrogance by the elite, of narcissism by the elite, of a complete disregard for the rule of law, as well as morality and human dignity. It's a joke to watch these people, and unfortunately, people take it serious. You know, I've had a laugh over these things for years. In fact, I've always considered myself a innocent bystander, a onlooker, not involved with. People ask me, what citizen are you? I'm a citizen of no country. I cannot logically pledge allegiance, or even, I was born in Chicago. But do I feel like an American citizen? Of course not. I have to say no. How can I say that I love this, beautiful, I love the country. But how can you say you follow what your government is doing, what your major religions are doing? Let me give you an example. When they lied to us about 9/11, do I have to say anything more? When they lied to us about Pearl Harbor, when they've lied, how many more things are they lying about today? It goes on and on and on. So you have to basically say, hey, I'm a citizen really of nowhere land, and I choose to live in certain places, and that's it. Because to take this seriously is to fall prey to what's called the Hegelian dialectic, and I've talked about it many times. So, for example, what we have going on in the political theatrical arena now is probably akin to when Barnum and Bailey first started the Barnum and Bailey circus. Because this is nothing but a political theatrical circus, but quite enjoyable for me. In fact, every day I turn on the TV just to get a few laughs. Because if you take it seriously, they've got you. And what I mean by that is, for example, today 99% of the population of America, maybe 97%, basically fall into two categories. They are either left-wing, now democratic socialists who hate Donald Trump and put up with Hillary Clinton and constantly try to defend her when she's been on a crime spree for 30 years, along with her husband. And if Hillary Clinton, people have asked me, why is Hillary Clinton, I was watching the Benghazi 13 Hours movie recently, and people asked me, well, why isn't Clinton in jail? And I said, if Clinton was in jail, there'd be about 50,000 other people in Washington that'd go right along with her. The whole country would fall apart. The whole government would stop because the chain of crimes is that deep. Conspiracy to commit Clinton crimes probably goes to 50 to 100,000 people or more, and most of them at high levels in our government. And I was reading a cute little article about that. Maybe I'll touch on it a little later. So what I'm saying is if you buy into it and you're a left winger, you're going to hate everything on the right. And they've really amped up this left-right hatred. You see it everywhere. Now, if you're a Make America Great Trump supporter, you're only going to listen to Fox News, and you hate everything on the other side. So there is no really understanding of the political system anymore. They've got you. So where do I fall? Well, first of all, I'm an onlooker, just a pleasant bystander watching this theatrical performance go on and on and on, because that's really what it is. Now, what makes me believe that? Well, let's go back. When I first started out as a journalist, I was more or less a left-winger. Yeah, it was during the time of Reagan. I couldn't stand Reagan. And in fact, I remember I said, I'm getting the hell out of America because I can't live in a presidency like Ronald Reagan. Now, Ronald Reagan is much like Trump today, right? So at that particular juncture of my life, I couldn't listen to Rush Limbaugh. I couldn't stand those people. And I was this supposedly, what was I? A journalist who was not biased. Well, hell yeah, I was biased. But you know what? I wrote these stories. It didn't make any difference. It was at lower level political stories, lower level crime stories. So it really didn't matter. But anyway, here I am, leaving America. At the time of my first journalism job, this is the way things have changed. And people have asked me, do you really take enjoyment of your show these days? And I say, absolutely not. I do it only because I've been doing it so long. Because things have changed so much that a journalist is more or less an obsolete figure today. A profession of a journalist is basically gone. There is no journalism. Basically, all it is now is everybody wakes up in the morning, turns on YouTube, turns on their computer, and decides to write something. And everybody reads it. Or you don't know what the hell you're reading. There's 350 million journalists in America now because of the internet. Now, when I started out, there was no computers. I had the first newspaper job I had in Naples, Florida, a beautiful little town. Now it's really a cesspool. It's pretty. I've been to Naples, but God, you can't even, it's like wall-to-wall people. So anyway, there I am, working on a typewriter. Who's calling me now? Okay, we're back on the Investigative Journal, and basically I was talking about a little bit of history of why, things have changed so drastically in America as far as so much information out there, but I find far few people really getting to the point of really what's going on. And, if there's a reason for doing the show, I guess it's that. And the reason being that when you start looking at this whole political theater, whether it be what's going on right now if you turn down Fox News or CNN, or whether you looked at the worldwide picture, spreading anywhere from the European Union to Korea to China, it's all related and it's all theater. They've got it planned. They're working out their global system that they are going to implement, and every little major thing that you're reading about is connected to get to that point. People say, well, what are you talking about? Okay, let me give you an example. Tariffs. Have you been following in the news about Trump putting on tariffs, China now, a trade war? Oh boy, that's connected to the globalist system. That's basically creating this kind of system now where the EU will get together with China, kind of isolating America And this idea of Make America Great Again is just a slogan. People are buying it on the left, even on the right, And it's really something that's just a theatrical slogan put in here by probably one of the best acting presidents. I mean, as far as an actor and an entertainer, boy, puts on a great show. So anyway, when I started out, we were on typewriters, so there was a need for a journalist. You got your news every day by a couple TV channels, and then newspapers. There were a hell of a lot more independent newspapers then than there are now. Then, as we moved into the internet area, you fast forward to the late 90s, mid-90s, late 90s, and I gravitated, after being in Rome for 6 or 7 years, covering the news there, and really understanding what the global system was about and how the Vatican is connected at the top levels to all of it. The satanic masters, the Jesuits being the military assassin arm of the Vatican, now infiltrated into most every government of the world. It's a great cover as a priest. Many of them don't even wear the collar. You'll find them everywhere. Astrologers, astronomers, you'll find them in lawyers, you'll find them everywhere. And all it is an organization set up to create a global system. And they use these politicians as pawns. And if you wonder why all of our presidents bow down to the Pope, just think of it this way. He has the power, he has the money, and that's usually where politicians run to, don't they? And you won't see one not respect the Pope, no matter who he is. The satanic presence in Rome, and it spreads all over the world. So once you start understanding that, you start realizing that the rest of it is just a game. And I'm going to present to you a nice little article of why Hillary Clinton has not been put in jail, because there isn't one truth seeker out there that asks that question. And two, why they pre-plan and program and tell you, why the elitists really tell you what they're going to do. So stay tuned. I'm going to get to that today. But let me get back to, just for a minute here, let me get back to what I was talking about. So once you get and understand that this is just theater, and the left and the right are basically working together, you'll understand that you can't take either side. Because once you get wrapped up into that, you're gone. You might as well just turn in your thinking cap and say forget about it. Because you've been caught up in the system that they want you to get caught up, because the left and the right are not going to change anything. That's why, for example, a good example, the Republicans now hold the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And nothing's getting done. And then you ask, well, why are they spending so much time on the Trump-Russia collusion system? Why are these guys, these FBI agents and all of these people, if you watch the news, being allowed to basically frame Donald Trump to do all these crazy things, and there's no justice, and they all of the Hillary Clinton, acolytes and all of her people, they don't get subpoenaed. They run scot-free. While on the other hand, you're seeing this special prosecutor who's at the behest of the Trump justice system, put one of his people, Paul Manafort, in jail for a 2005 possible tax charge. He's now sitting in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day because he won't, basically, even a federal court judge said they've got him there so he can sing and tell the truth about Trump. Why is this going on? Because if the Republicans were true, they want this theater to go on. All Trump has to do is end it all. Put an end to get rid of the head of the Attorney General is doing nothing. And he has the power to release all the documents that the Republicans are screaming for. But it wouldn't be good theater, would it? And plus, Then they would have to put Clinton and all of those people in jail, which then means they probably have to put themselves in jail. So nothing's going to happen. But I'm going to read to you a little article in a minute regarding Clinton and all of this stuff, because I find it fascinating that people, if you don't get it, for example, if I can say to you, people ask me, why isn't Clinton in jail for Benghazi? Why isn't this guy in jail for 9/11? If they really think that it's going to happen, they really don't understand the system. And then you can begin to say to them, well, where does it all go? Who's the top of the elite chain? And I received an email the other day, and a woman who listened to my show for years said, Greg, I heard that the Illuminati is defeated. And I said, do you know who they are? And I said, I don't think the Pope of Rome is defeated. I don't think their system is defeated. I don't think there's less satanic pedophilia going on in the world right now. I don't think there's less corruption going on in the world now. I don't think there's less theater and drum beats of war going on in the world. I don't think there's less monetary confusion going on in the world right now. Do you? That is the Illuminati. It goes from the top of Rome all the way down through Freemasonry, all the way through to the major political figures in the world, including the heads of China, Russia, and the United States and the EU and all those countries. And if you don't work together with them, playing the Hegelian dialectic, one fighting against the other, they'll kill you. And it's that simple. And then you can do a whole big study on the Jesuits, how their role, how they're involved in this. And that's when you start understanding why Benghazi occurred. Why, it's also interesting, Benghazi, and I'm not going to tell you about it, you can read about Benghazi and you probably know about it. They sent that ambassador to Libya after they destroyed Libya and Gaddafi. They should have left him there, but they had to open up an avenue for their creation of ISIS. And they sent the ambassador there to be killed on September 11th, 2012. Isn't that quite interesting, the dates they play with you on? Yeah, they play with you on those dates. Well, in the second half, let me get back to that idea of why Clinton's not in jail and why they tell you what they're going to do in advance in many different ways. How many shows have we done about that? And it goes in one ear, out the other, and people wonder why you get frustrated. Oh, why do I still do the show? How has it changed? Well, when I got to the internet in the beginning, there were only a few major channels on the internet in the early days. I was right there along with Alex Jones and the rest of those creeps, not really understanding them. And there were only a few channels, a few people working here and there, but now everybody's there. I mean, you don't know how many people, how many emails I get, or I look and I see all of these people doing their own shows. And they're asking for money. And they're doing this, and they're doing, please donate, do this, do that. There's no sense to really, in my position right now, what am I going to do? Do I really want to stand out above the crowd as a journalist? No. I'm just a simple journalist who's passed a long time going, wow, what a change. What a world we live in. And so glad. Hell with the money, hell with the rest of the stuff, that I was put in positions where I understand, and I'll say 100%, how the big picture operates. Sure, I can't fill in all the gaps. Sure, I can't convince people that it's like this. But man, I'll tell you what, I've said two things on this show. One, you have an obligation to understand the religion or the faith you were brought into and then expand your knowledge in that. And two, you have an obligation to understand the country and the government you were grown up under and what they're really about, and expand on that as well. And that's what I've tried to do, and it's not because I'm smart, by no means. It's because I've just happened to be in the right place at the right time. A few more minutes here. Let me talk about this to give you an idea. Then we'll do something different on the other side. Did you know that American presidents, many of them are related to Charlemagne? So that idea that everyone in America can grow up to be a president is a lie. Did you know that all 44 U.S. presidents have carried European and royal bloodlines into office? 34 have been genetic descendants from just one person, Charlemagne, the brutal 8th century king of the Franks. 19 of them directly descended from King Edward III of England. In fact, the presidential candidate with the most royal genes has won every single American election. Wow. How does Obama fit into that? This information comes from Burke's Peerage, which is the Bible of aristocratic genealogy. And you will find me there on page 1. I'm actually a descendant of Attila the Hun. Yeah. I'm a peasant from Poland. All right. Every presidential election in America since and including George Washington in 1789 to Clinton and all of them now to Trump, has been won by the candidate with the most British and French royal genes. Of the 42 presidents to Clinton, let's just stop there, 33 have been related to two people, Alfred the Great, King of England, and Charlemagne, the most famous monarch of France. So it goes on. Quite interesting. If America declared its independence from Europe monarchies in 1776, how is it possible that every single president has descended from European monarchs? How? Because we really haven't. It's just the theater. It's amazing to me. And then they have the audacity to say anybody can grow up to be president in America. Listen, you might be able to grow up to be a congressman, but if you don't follow the the bloodline theories here, if you don't follow what the Illuminati or the Vatican and the Jesuits and all these creeps want you to, you're going to be killed. It's that simple. Ask Sonny Bono. Ask Paul Wellstone and a number of other people who've decided, hey, the country and my moral compass is much more important than following the Illuminati and the Vatican and the presidents of the United States. Now, for example, Trump, you can read this, it's even been on some of the mainstream internet sites like The Hill and a couple others, that Clinton and Trump are related as long-lost cousins from, of course, European royal bloodlines. And why do you think they're all protected? Well, we're going to get into that in the second half hour. Let me spend a minute here before we take a break to I thank First Amendment Radio for all these years and for giving me a little time off and welcoming me back. Hopefully you'll come back to the show. Many people forgot, once you leave the airwaves, nowadays there's so many people on them. I don't even know what to call it anymore. But unless you do a mainstream radio show that follows the Illuminati line, whether you want to be a left-wing broadcaster or a right-wing broadcaster, you're never going to get the truth out. And you can listen to Hell Freezes over to Rush Limbaugh on the right, to Sean Hannity on the right, to the other goofballs on the left, and you're never going to get to the bottom of what's going on. In fact, you're gonna be miserable because you're going to hate the other side. You're never going to look at this as like I do. I get, like for example, at the break here, I'm going to turn on a Fox and I'm going to get a laugh. And every day I watch this stuff, I'm going to get a laugh. And even if the bombs start coming in, or even if chemtrails get worse, or even if they create a tsunami and I'm looking at a 100-foot wave coming at me, I'm going to laugh right to wherever it takes me. And that's another thing. Wow. Lately I've been thinking about what's really after this thing when this life here is over with. Is it just blackness? Nothing? That's the way it was for me before I was born. Shouldn't it be any different after I die? We'll deal with that someday on another show. But anyway, back in 3 minutes, getting a little rusty here on the Investigative Journal.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, we're back for the second half hour of the Investigative Journal. I'm Greg Anthony, back on FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Go there. You get some good shows. And back live again. I've been taking a little break, and things are better. Yes, things are better. Hope you missed me. Makes me feel good. I had a little bit of a physical problem, but I made it out to be worse than it really was because I wanted sympathy. Everybody likes sympathy. Oh, I'm really terrible today. Help me. No. Well, anyway, back live, back talking amongst the millions of journalists out there. Everybody wants to be a journalist. I can't believe it. Don't do it. It doesn't pay. You can never get to the truth and be believed. And there's really no reason to do it anymore because the world has gone to hell in a handbasket anyway. And most people believe the crap they get on TV. And if you get one person to change their mind about it, it's not a fun job to go back in history and figure all this stuff out. But you know what? It's better than going on Facebook. Let me get to this just quickly. I want to do a show on this later in the week before I talk about why the globalists are telling us everything and who really is a globalist. I think there's a lot of Americans, many listening to this show, because if you think it's a better place, the world would be better if everybody's united with a few people leading us, then you're a globalist. And then I want to talk a little bit why the super criminal Hillary Clinton, I've been following her for 30-some years, and I have an interest in it. She grew up in my neighborhood in Chicago, not too far away, in Park Ridge, Illinois. She went to Maine East High School. How come you didn't go to a Catholic school like the rest of us? I went to Notre Dame High School. She went to the Maine East, which was the public school that I would have gone to if I didn't choose to be educated by the great Holy Cross Fathers. So, anyway, let's talk about Facebook. Now, remember in the first half hour I was telling you how the internet has grown. I've been on it ever since kind of almost the beginning of it. And as a real live internet journalist, back then there weren't that many. There was a few major stations like Republic Broadcasting, Genesis, and a couple others. But now, it's like there's literally millions and millions of people out there. Every day I get articles. I don't know who writes them. They come to me. There's millions of them. And everybody is contributing. Now, is that good or bad? I guess from a sense it is good, but I've said this a long time ago. Reliance on the internet makes you more lonely, makes you lonelier, because all of these people that you meet have it's all cyber stuff. Everybody online is looking to do better than the next person. I can write a better story than that. I can find something out better than that, and then I want my video to go viral. And then we have this Facebook. I call it deep face, because what they have planned for you is not going to be pretty, although they will make their followers believe it. But let me just talk a little bit about Facebook. It's a national, unreal. How many, everybody puts their pictures on it. The family picture, every family picture is on Facebook. And whatever happened to opening up the drawer of your desk and opening up the family album and kind of running your hand over the pictures? Oh no. Now it's all here on this lonelier than lonely internet. I'm telling you, people that spend their time on the internet are lonelier than if they didn't. Get up, go outside, have a coffee, get into an argument with a friend. Actually, meet people, shake their hands, talk to them. Like I told you, I love people. I can only take them for about a minute, but I love that. I do love them, but I can only take them for a few minutes, and then I move on to the next. There's so many of them, right? But at least you're talking. Like today I got up, I went out, bought a coffee, I walked. Not because I don't have a car, and I'm poor, but I walked. Well, you know something? I got a little old truck. How's that? So I walked, had a coffee, sat down, bought a little donut, sat in front of the bakery. There's a couple chairs there. Had an enjoyable morning. A dog came up to me and sat next to me. Actually, I was thinking, wow, this dog, I better not feed. I gave him a little bit of my cookies, and he went on his merry way, but I was thinking, boy, should I collect another one? Most of you that know me knew that Max and Moose, my favorite buddies, passed away about a year and a half ago, another a year ago, and I vowed to never get another dog. But guess what? I've started collecting them. I've got 5 now. And in my absence, I didn't have anything to do, got tired of people, so I decided to start collecting stray dogs. And I got 5 of them. I had the little ones. If I added them all up, the poundage. They wouldn't weigh as much as my one dog Max, but it's kind of fun, keeps you busy. Give them all names, and we have great discussions, political discussions together, and they're actually more intelligent than most Democrats and Republicans I meet. They actually know when to howl and get off the internet, get off the TV and go and enjoy themselves. Then I watch them play, do things, roll around on their back. They go to the beach. Oh my goodness, what a good time. So I've started collecting dogs. So I don't know how many I can have legally. I don't really care. Nobody can see them, and they're all little. The ordinance, I think in San Diego, what is it, is you can have 3 dogs or 2. But they should be poundage. Like I got 5, but they don't weigh as much as a guy that has 1 dog that's 200 pounds. It's not fair. But anyway, off to a different subject here. Facebook. Imagine, folks, a world where cameras watch you as you shop at your favorite store. But they're not actually security cameras, says an article I'm paraphrasing here that was sent to me. They're Facebook cameras. And as of the first quarter of 2018, Facebook had, how many? Roughly 2.19 billion monthly active users. That's approaching almost half the population of the entire world. And Facebook has applied for 2 patents that will capture and recognize the faces of every one of those people as they go about their daily business. Yes, your face has made Facebook wealthy beyond that Mark Zuckerberg's wildest dreams, and now he plans to put your face under permanent lock and key. Oh yeah. Now, somebody sent me this and said, read Revelation 13:18. And this is from the KJV Bible. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 13:18. Under the guise of protecting people's freedoms, Facebook is rolling out facial recognition technology all across Europe right now, with the premise being that facial recognition will keep people safe. Facebook's push to spread facial recognition also puts the company at the center of a broader and intensifying debate, says this article I have. They don't tell me who wrote it. For all I know, Facebook or a computer wrote it, but it's got good information. As I was reading about this subject just the other day, and it scared the hell out of me, because once they get your face recognition, they can follow you anywhere. This is amazing technology. And I don't know why they'd want to look at people all like that. I mean, give me a break. Let's just face it, there's some faces you don't want to look at. Facebook's push to spread this facial recognition puts the company at the center of this new technology. The technology can be used to remotely identify people by name without their knowledge or consent. Wow, I thought there was a constitution. What are these guys in Washington talking about? Give me a break. We're going through a new Supreme Court nomination. This is the second one in the Trump era, and you're going to hear like the left and right fight over this garbage. It's all a game. I have fun with it because all this guy's going to do is twiddle his fingers and play with himself when he puts his black robe on. Because these guys, playing with the Constitution is like a game. I mean, the rulings they put out have no meaning when you got stuff like this going on. So the technology can be used to remotely identify people without their knowledge or consent. There goes the Fourth Amendment, the First Amendment, it's all gone already. I don't even know why they have a Constitution anymore, because it's just fun to talk about. And I enjoy the levity over every one of these people start fighting over abortion rights. It's the same deal. Nothing's ever going to change unless the elitists want it to change. And they'll guide you right along like you got a leash on, and they'll take you wherever you want if you follow and you don't understand the Hegelian dialectic. Now, facial recognition works by scanning faces of unnamed people in photos or videos and then matching codes of their facial patterns to those in a database of named people. Facebook has said that users are in charge of that process, telling them, you control face recognition. Sure. But critics said people cannot actually control the technology because Facebook scans their faces in photos even when their facial recognition setting is turned off. That's why some people have figured out, they're watching you through certain TVs now and through the internet. I always put a little piece of paper over my, you got that, the video thing that you look, the camera on your computer. I don't know, just in case. Probably can look, it can see through the page anyway. So they're trying to explain their patents and say no violations will exist, but I really want you to follow up on that story. And Facebook is the largest social media platform in the world, and its 2.2 billion profiles are a modern day of equivalent of a super scary, the hell with the FBI files, created on Americans of interest from the days of J. Edgar Hoover. Remember, in 2018, everyone is a person of interest, both in America and in every country all over the world. Facebook isn't free, never was free, and Mark Zuckerberg and all these people are going to be watching you. All right, so we'll do a story more in depth on Facebook. Crazy. And you know what? As soon as I'm done, I'm going to go to Facebook and put a picture up. Yeah, what the hell? Everybody, I don't think there's a person in the world that doesn't have one picture on Facebook. So they can facially recognize anybody nowadays. Huh? What about when you get older? I got some pictures on there from when I was real young. And I still think I look that way, by the way. I remember my uncle once told me, he was older, and I said, Chet, how do you live with yourself? You're getting so old. He looked at me. He was a good-looking old man and a nice white beard, my uncle, favorite uncle. He said, I just don't look in the mirror. Okay, Chet. But here we go. Globalists are telling us everything, and we don't even know it. You even may be a globalist, and you don't know it. They used to use the globalists was an immediate recognition of liberty advocates as those they were referring to, globalists. It's good to be a globalist. This was back when the movement for small government, the non-aggression principle, and true free markets was small but growing. These days, it's so difficult to figure out who's a globalist, who isn't a globalist. And I guess you could say, well, if I believe in borders, if I believe in sovereignty, I'm not a globalist. But is that true? Like I said, this idea, Make America Great Again, really is just a plan. It's a goal. It's a catchphrase. Without any plans, the notion of achieving a goal, it's laughable to make America great again. I mean, it's so interconnected with the world that, okay, we can say we'll build a border, we'll build a wall, we'll protect. It's not going to happen. This world has gone already into globalism through large corporations that have control, basically, what you're doing, and they have no loyalty whatsoever. And the government is just like I said, if you don't start enjoying watching this theater, you're going to go crazy. But I guess you got to ask the question, who are the globalists? And I guess you can answer it by saying any person or institution that promotes the philosophy of global centralization of economic or political power into the hands, you got to remember this, of a select few. And if you go out today and you meet, especially the millenniums, they're going to tell you it's better to have a global world. We all got to get along. And you know what? The only way, and the only people benefiting from this getting along are the rich, the elite, the few elite at the top who are going to control you. There's no specific nationality or ethnic group. There's no specific religious group that make up this globalist hierarchy. They come from every part of the world. They have clubs. They have secret clubs. You can go from the secret clubs at Yale University, the Bohemian Club, the Bilderberg Group, the Vatican Jesuits, all of them connected, the Trilateral Commission, the Tavistock Institute, the International Monetary Fund, the Bank for International Settlements, Foreign Relations, you name it. But the organization has one goal, total power, built upon full-blown narcissism and sociopaths. They're sociopaths, leading to naive notions for godhood for them, and they can tell you it's attainable. Now, one might assume these globalists would never restrain themselves from such a thing as rules of etiquette. They do. They tell you exactly what they're going to do. And the rationale behind this could be any number of things. Why do they tell you and things, I could give you a whole bunch of examples. They told us Donald Trump was going to be elected. They told us about 9/11. They told us about Benghazi. They told us about a lot of things that are going to happen in the world. They told us about Pearl Harbor. And they have these secret little, you never watch Trump? He makes the inverted pyramid every time he sits down. Watch him. When he sits, he makes that inverted pyramid when they show him from the waist up, sitting, interview, no matter where he's at, on TV or with foreign diplomats. And that's a sign that he's along, hey guys, I'm working with you guys at the top, the elite, the Vatican, the Jesuits, and all you people who are working together for this great idea of a global world. And although Trump says he's making America great again, he's basically bringing a whole group of Americans to one side to hate the other. And this clash will never make America great again. And you may see a few things like hear it on the news. They say there's 3 or 4% unemployment. I believe unemployment in America is about 20% or more. The numbers, don't believe a word they say. I subscribe to one thing. When I turn on the news or listen to my government, I have a good laugh because I know it's only theater. Secondly, I don't believe a word they say. And it's a script. It's kind of like if you're an actor, you go in, they give you a script, okay, this is what you do. You're going to go out there and fool people, but when the day's over, it's not true. Go back to your daily life. Enjoy yourself for the time remaining. Life is short. And try to figure out what's going on, though. That's all I'm asking. Now, why would they want to tell you what they're doing? Well, it could be any numbers of things. They gloat over it. They're narcissists. They have a psychology of thinking, wow, if we could tell them what they do, then actually do it. We have really put it over on them. But what really, you can think of 100 reasons why they want to tell this. They have secret little societies that we're going to tell these slaves of ours what we're going to do to them. And then you can read in the Bible, people have eyes, but they don't see. The whole works. What the globalists really want is public acceptance and submission to their authority. They don't want to have to operate from behind a curtain. Pretty soon, they want you to take what they give and love it. Oh, and there's a whole bunch of things that you can talk about, the monetary policies and the central banks, and they tell you what's going to happen. Remember in 2007, I don't know if you remember, but the Bank of International Settlements issued a public warning that loose monetary policy by the central banks had created a dangerous credit bubble. And then in 2008, you had the big disaster, remember, that we're still not really over. And this idea of Trump now and China and the tariffs, this is going to be interesting. They're already telling you that you better buy your Christmas presents now because they're going to be real expensive around Christmas time because of the tariffs with China. So anyway, they're telling you exactly what they're doing. All right, I'll get into that a little bit deeper on other shows, but let's end it this day. How many people that are trying to figure out the truth have always wondered, wow, how come Hillary Clinton isn't in jail? But the real reason, I think, is that everybody's involved with her and too many people will go to jail. So if you're on the Democratic or Republican side, you're not going to put her away because you're going to go away. Clintons have been on this crime spree for more than 30 years. And the public really has allowed it to happen. The public is going to be real sorry when they find out what crimes have been committed. I can tell you hundreds of them. That the pub, and recently, even with the email scandals, if you haven't had a joke over that, nothing can get you laughing. That public could be prevented only if it were open to the truth. That's why nobody will ever put her behind bars or any of these criminals at the top, because no one really wants to face what really is going on at the top levels. Now, if she did go to jail, I predict there'd be over 50 to 100,000 people that will go along with her. So, and especially those who have declared that, they're on her side. I think it could collapse the whole legal system. That's why they don't do it. It'd bring down even the Supreme Court justices. I know it'd bring down the Ninth Circuit. Because, as one of my good friends who passed away, Sherman Skolnick, once said, the most endangered species in America is an honest judge. And let me tell you, so when you watch Clinton, you watch Trump and all these people, remember, have a good laugh over it. Because they're never going to be held accountable like us slaves. And that's really the way it is. And when people say, America the free, the home of the brave, I have to have a laugh. Looking at it from a world view, okay, it ain't too bad a place to be, considering the world's a cesspool in itself. So you got to pick and choose some really good things to do during the day, because your day, everybody's days are numbered, just a question of time. And so when you take a look, I guess my whole reason for doing this show was to say, please really look at what's going on at the high levels and don't fall into the, if you're an American or if you're from Britain or if you're from wherever, don't fall into this trap of believing in your ideology, political ideology, whether it be liberal or conservative, and then fighting for that. Because you ain't going to get anywhere, because you got to first understand that whether you're on the left or the right, it makes no difference to these people at the top. They're just using you to get their way in the end, the synthesis in the end that they want. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying don't enjoy it, don't enjoy your beliefs, but you got to understand, don't look for help from there, from your governments. It is gone, 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 gone. Look for help somewhere else, and that's up to you. But anyway, thanks for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit DiscountGoldandSilverTrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit DiscountGoldandSilverTrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.